Ladies and gentlemen, you read the headlines. You heard it come out of my mouth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times the last 2 years. Really longer than that. Since 2008. That a global economic designed meltdown was coming. And out of it, they're going to announce a new planetary government backed up by strategic drawing rights, SDRs. It's just digital made up money backed up with carbon taxes, digital money transfer taxes, VATs paid by regional government combines into the IMF, World Bank, International Bank of Settlements, controlled by the WTO, and all of these secret agreements like the TPP that are now public after they put them in place that transfer all power to unelected corporate boards that have diplomatic and corporate immunity and for all intents and purposes are about 95% tax exempt. They put so many taxes on us, it's hard for them to avoid them all, but it's incredible. Whether it's the socialist government of France, caught all these Swiss bank accounts, not paying taxes, and then they don't get in trouble, or the EU bureaucrats not paying taxes, look it up. They're unelected. The EU Parliament is advisory to the permanent bureaucracy that's now creating an international police force and controls NATO. I mean, you want to be conquered by 21st century tyranny? It isn't Napoleon, it isn't Hitler, it isn't the Russians. It's this global corporate combine. It's the new world order. And I've put out a bunch of Facebook mentions, a bunch of YouTubes the last month saying global collapse imminent, emergency. I talked to top elites. You see all the high-powered folks that come on the show, from Congress people to famous special forces commanders, to top movie producers, to major bankers. I mean, for every person you see on the show or hear on the show, there's 5 or 6 prominent I talked to off record. I was told 5 years ago by a billionaire defense contractor owner, multi-billionaire, that they were leaving the United States and that I had 4 to 5, maybe 6 years until it was, quote, gone. And they were going to New Zealand and also the Cook Islands with their money. And they knew who I was, came to me, talked to me. They saw me in a lawyer's office in a building. I kind of knew, I knew I'd seen them before, but then I looked them up. I was like, oh my God, that is who they said they were. I had like a 15-minute conversation with them. And I said, well, what is it that's happening? And they said, you already know. You already say it. You're going to be getting very popular. You're going to be getting very big. You're going to be getting very, very famous. And I was like, well, I don't want to get famous off that. And she said, look, you're just dead on. Now we're here. Walmart's closed hundreds of stores. 100 million Americans are on some form of welfare, and 98 million are out of the workforce. They're flooding us with unskilled workers on record to drive down wages and bankrupt us. Obamacare is designed to bankrupt the country. Cloward and Piven, they're just doing everything to bankrupt our fracking industry. People demonize it all day. Okay, it was the only economy we had left. We're sitting here watching all this happen, and Obama's on the news last week saying, you know, anybody that says that we don't have the best economy and it's not great, you know, is basically full of bull. I'm going to go show you the clip in a moment, the actual quote. It's like he said, there are no ISIS in America, no threat, and 2 days later there's an attack in San Bernardino. So if he says up, it's down. If he says left, it's right. If he says black, it's white. If he says it's polka dotted, it's not. I mean, it's incredible, and it's on purpose lying to us. They also say, well, don't be gloom and doom. That'll destroy confidence. It'll get worse. That's not what's doing this. I've seen thousands of comments over the years saying, you're gloom and doom. You're going to cause the collapse. I didn't cause the derivatives to be 1+ quadrillion in 2008. Now it's 2.2 as of last year. We haven't gotten new numbers in 6 months. I mean, you're talking about mega, massive information here. It's hundreds of times all the real wealth in all the world. It's impossible to pay. It's not our debt. It was created. It was absolutely set up and developed so that we could be tied to all that debt, bail out the big banks, and in bailing it out, we become their slaves and in debt to them. This is economic warfare. And look, I don't respond to the trolls, but there's national trolls, the New York Times and others, you know, saying I'm a fear peddler, fear porn, Gerald Celente is. No, we're not. The fundamentals are 2 + 2 = 4. And everything has been to shut down small businesses. Everything has been to vertically integrate and consolidate power. Everything has been to take over local banks and real lenders. The big banks get their own free money now. They don't even lend anymore. And it's getting worse. This is a controlled economic takeover. That's the problem. It'd be one thing if it was just a normal deal, but 29 was staged. That's come out in Congress. This is totally staged. It's going to be worse, probably. It's going to be real bad. It's happening for sure, but it's going to be bad. They can't pump up the markets forever, and they're just giving themselves the money when they do it and destroying the overall economy. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Now, we're going to play this report on the show today as well as David Knight and others break it down, and they've already played this clip on the show today. But here is Obama, openly saying, anyone who says economy declining is lying. Okay, here you go.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
And then he goes on to say it's wonderful, when all the fundamentals are the opposite. Now, for the globalist, things are wonderful because they're consolidating control. They're crony capitalists. Look at this. Walmart to close 629 stores. CNBC, or I said that wrong, 269 stores. And they're going to lay off 16,000 people. There's the article from Zero Hedge up on Infowars.com. So check that out for yourself. Look, I can show you a bunch of clips. I can sit here and go over it with you all day long. All I'm telling you is they tell you, believe in confidence, believe everything's fine, get into debt, go along with the system, everything's going to be wonderful, trust the system, on and on and on. And the more we trust the system, the more we go along with what they say, the worse it gets, because it's a plan to take over the world and use economic depravity and economic deprivation to control people. This is their own strategy, written by Carroll Quigley in 1967 in Tragedy and Hope, a battle plan for the CIA and the State Department, run by these foreign interests. Our country got taken over in 1947 by the National Security Act by foreign interests. We've had a soft coup for a long time inside the country, building their world government empire with our blood, our sweat, our tears, our money, our treasure, our young men, and now women. And then we get the blame for all of it. The globalists hate us more than anybody. They want to mount the republic's head on the wall after they're done sucking us dry like a big fat spider eating a weevil. Stop being fools. Stop buying into the propaganda. Break your conditioning. Realize that lying to yourself and submitting to them only allows them to screw you over. The awakenings happen. I'm not talking to our general audience, but I'm talking to other people out there that don't get it. You can't side with the system delusionally and get out of this, and then it's going to be nice to you. It's predatory. You're delusional. You have Stockholm syndrome, where the victim worships their accuser, worships their captors, worships their enslavers, worships the tyrants, worships the parasites, worships the criminals, worships the scum that are raping them and robbing them, and always telling them how they're bad. And it's something that women historically go under Stockholm syndrome more than men. It's biological, it's evolutionary, that women would get captured and taken over, and they'd go, oh, okay, you're right. You just killed my husband and kids. You're a foreign army that came in 5,000 years ago. I'll go ahead and bow down to you. I guess it's right. Oh, King Booga, you're so great, and hug them. Men aren't supposed to do that, folks, and men have been turned into complete emasculated cowards and slaves. And you act worse than women. There are a lot of tough women in history, too. It's just statistically, they go under Stockholm syndrome a lot quicker, a lot easier, learned helplessness. But now, men are pathetic. It's time for you to get up and stand up, break your conditioning, get involved. Physical courage isn't what it's about. It's about mental courage to admit what's happened, to be involved, to not care if you're ridiculed. Because as Mark Twain said in the beginning, a patriot is a scarce man, hated, feared, and scorned. But in time when his cause succeeds, the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. Break your conditioning now. Get involved. Wake up and reach out to others. You are the resistance. Or just bend over and get ready. Because the globalist ideology, if you're going to bend over, if you're going to submit, if you're going to get down on your knees, like Patrick Henry said to his enemies, crouch down and lick the hand that feeds you. Go peacefully from us. Forget that you are our countrymen. As for me, give me liberty, give me death. I don't know what course you're going to take, but I'll, going to stand up and fight this. I sit here and I look at you guys. And I just want you to understand, you need to know who your captors are. They're eugenicists that want to slowly poison you and dumb you down before you die, and you never even know they killed you because they'd already stolen your intellect, your mind, and your soul. You know I'm telling the truth. You know we've got our finger on the zeitgeist. Join us and let humanity go to the next level. Don't bow on your knees to these murderers.